Be your own reviewer, the lead level habit for Unity teams. Hello and welcome to episode number 003 of the Unity Performance Task Force. I'm your host Ruben from TheGameDev.Guru, and as usual, I'll kick off with a question for you. Have you ever opened a code review to find more comments than lines of code you wrote? Sounds familiar? If so, this episode is for you. Let me give you the promise up front. By the end of this episode, you'll have a simple habit that turns painful reviews into quick approvals, reduces bugs, and helps you ship cleaner features. The habit is 5 words long. Be your own reviewer. Quick story. Back when I was at Ubisoft working on an Assassin's Creed VR title, I was surrounded by people who were better than me at many things, which is exactly where you want to be. One sentence stuck and it still guides every system I touch. Graphics, architecture, AI, multiplayer, all of it. The sentence was, be your own reviewer. I tried it. It changed the way I write code, choose defaults, and wire up components in Unity. Let's put some context and stakes around this. On real Unity projects, complexity grows invisibly. Defaults feel safe until they don't. You add a component just in case. You leave a checkbox at its default because that's what Unity chose. You stack a few update loops, sprinkle some allocations, and one harmless prefab becomes heavy. Players feel it as jank or stutter. Designers feel it as tools that fight them. Leads feel it as reviews that stall, regressions that slip, and schedules that slide. There are a few misconceptions that make this worse. First misconception: reviews are where quality happens. Reality: by the time your code hits review, most waste is already baked in. Second misconception: progress equals more code. Reality: progress is better behavior with less moving parts. Third misconception: defaults are neutral. Reality: defaults are optimized for convenience, not for your project. Here's the core idea in plain terms. Be your own reviewer. That means you audit your work before anyone else sees it. Every line of code you write, review it. Every setting you touch or leave at its default, review it. Every component you add to a game dev.Guru or not, review it. And you ask 4 questions, out loud if needed. First question: do I really need this? Second: why exactly do I need this? Third: can I do this in a simpler way? Fourth: can I also just not do this at all? Those 4 questions will delete more bugs than any linter. They'll also make your code smaller, clearer, and easier for your teammates to extend. And here's the kicker. In our projects, I don't allow commits the developer can't defend. If you can't clearly explain the why behind each line, each setting, each component, it doesn't land in production. That's not punishment, it's a safety net. Let's make this practical with a quick walkthrough you can run in minutes. Think of it as a pre-commit defense drill. Step 1. Open your diff and read it like it's someone else's work. Why this code exists should be obvious in 10 seconds. If it isn't, rewrite the code comment or the commit message until it is. Why it matters: reviewers skim. You control their first impression. Step 2. Highlight everything you added that executes every frame. Update methods, coroutines, events that fire often. Ask: do I really need this running every frame? Often you can move it to unenable, undisable, or a cached pre-compute. Why it matters: frame time is measured in milliseconds, and even tiny per frame work adds up. Step 3. Scan for defaults. Lights, physics, animation, import settings, serialization mode, project quality settings. Anything you left on default, ask why that default is correct for your scene and your platform. If you don't know, set an explicit value and explain your choice. Why it matters: defaults are convenience, not intent. Step 4. Look at components you added to prefabs and scenes. For each component, answer the 4 questions. If a component is just in case, remove it and document the consideration in your design note. Why it matters? Every component adds lifecycle, memory, and potential coupling. Step 5. Search for allocations and reflection in hot code paths. New list in update, custom taunt in update, string concatenation in loops. Replace them with cached references or pooled objects. Why it matters? Garbage collection spikes don't care about your sprint goal. Step 6. Run a quick smack test. Enter play mode in a small test scene and interact with the feature for 30 seconds. If anything feels sticky, scale back. Why it matters? Your hand and your eye are great first sensors before you reach for heavy profiling. This is the exact checklist we use at TheGameDev.Guru when teams need fast wins. We've seen the same pattern across indies and Day A studios. The fix is usually smaller than people think. Now, objections and edge cases. Objection 1. Isn't this what code reviews are for? Short answer. Reviews are for catching what you missed, not for doing your thinking. If you self-review, reviewers spend time on architecture and risk instead of nitpicks. Objection 2. We don't have time. Tight deadlines make self-review more important, not less. A 3-minute defense drill saves hours of review back and forth and days of rework after merge. Objection 3. What about prototypes? When you're exploring, keep the habit but loosen the grip. Add a timebox note, prototype expires Friday. Still answer the 4 questions even if the answer is temporary while we validate. The moment a prototype graduates, run the full drill. Edge case. Cross-discipline changes. If your code touches art import settings, lighting, or physics, ping the owner and include your why. Self-review doesn't replace collaboration, it makes your questions sharper. Edge case. The 4th question says, can I not do this at all? Sometimes the answer is no, you do need it. Good. But make sure the code is minimal and names intent. Often, naming things well is the simplest way to make complexity survivable. Let's turn this into an action plan you can apply today. Action 1. On your next task, write the why first. 1 to 3 sentences. What problem, what outcome, what constraints. Action 2. Before you push, run the 4-question drill on code, settings, and components. If you can't defend something in 1 sentence, cut it or rewrite it. Action 3. Add a defense note to your commit message. 1 line that begins with because. For example, because this runs once at load, we cache the lookup and remove update. Action 4. Set an early warning threshold for performance in your team. For example, if a simple scene's average frame time nudges up beyond your agreed budget, pause and investigate before merging. Use milliseconds, not just FPS, to keep it concrete. Action 5. Ask a teammate to review only the why. Tell them, if you can't find the why in 10 seconds, ping me. That feedback loop trains your future commits. Quick self-tests to know you're on track. If you can hand your diff to a new teammate and they understand the intent in under 10 seconds, you're doing it right. If you delete at least 1 thing per task, a line, a component, a default, you're doing it right. If you feel slightly annoyed at yourself while self-reviewing, good. That feeling is the price of clean code, and it's much cheaper than post-merge regret. Before we wrap up, here's why this matters beyond clean diffs. When you practice being your own reviewer, your architecture gets simpler. Simpler systems mean fewer bugs. Fewer bugs mean more time for the work you actually want to do, shipping features, helping designers, and polishing the player experience. And yes, performance benefits. Every unnecessary update you remove and every default you make explicit, not just frame time in the right direction. Aim for explicit intent everywhere. Let's recap the 3 takeaways. 1. Be your own reviewer. Audit every line, every default, every component before anyone else sees it. 2. Ask the 4 questions. Do I really need this? Why exactly do I need this? Can I do it in a simpler way? Can I not do it at all? 3. Defend every commit. If you can't explain it clearly, it's not ready. If you want a second pair of eyes on your project, we do focused performance audits and training sprints. This habit is a pillar in our mentoring programs for senior developers, and it scales teams without heavy process. If you found this podcast episode useful, you can access in-depth lessons in the Unity Performance Task Force program at www.performancetaskforce.com. And if Unity Consulting is what you are after, book a free discovery call at https://consulting.thegamedev.guru. Till next time.